Welcome to the RC Roundtable podcast, where we discuss the latest RC hobby news, events, model reviews, and a whole lot more. Hello, welcome to the RC Roundtable, episode 217, where you will be assimilated.
For those of you not watching, Fitz has got an eye patch on with something on it. It looks like, is it a Borg eyepiece? Yep. All it's also, you just need to put the laser in it. You didn't be Locutus.
Yeah, no time for that.
So are you hinting at your eye situation?
A little bit. Maybe
Okay.
not so subtly.
Well, I'm sure everybody's concerned. The cards and flowers have been pouring in, so why don't you update all the
And I
concerned
woke up from that
listeners?
dream.
But the GoFundMe account is only at $250.
Yeah, go fund me more.
And I mean $2.50.
250 pesos. So yes, I finally had some eyelid surgery and trying to be on the mend. And so I was kind of poking fun at that. Actually, it was Lee's idea. He said I should get an eye patch. So I poked around a thing of hers.
I was hoping he'd put more flair on it, though. Bedazzle it.
I only just remembered like today. So I know tiny bedazzle, do any things. But this off a thing of hers. That's pretty cool. So yeah, it doesn't need a light. But
Someone has an eye patch on Thingiverse for a Borg eye implant.
Of course, we're in the 21st century now.
Whatever you think you didn't need, it's on Thingiverse.
Well, when you
yeah.
first showed up on screen, you were looking at me, so I couldn't tell that it was anything more than a standard eye patch. And I 100% was ready for you to start talking with a pirate accent. So I was very disappointed when you were just Fitz. Maybe next time.
Turbo pirate accent.
Yeah.
Or do the Borg.
Hopefully he won't need the eye patch next time.
Yeah,
Okay.
I'm glad you got the procedure done, and you'll be round-eyed again in no time.
Be a round-eyed devil again, hopefully.
Yeah.
But anyways, enough about me. I'm my own worst enemy anyways.
All right. Well, let's do something we haven't done in a long, long time. Doggone it.
Sing? Make this a musical?
No, we sing all the time. No.
Lipo batteries.
Lipo.
Come on, Terry, join in. we need our baritone.
Yes.
We are going to talk about a new product, one that I wasn't aware of until you guys told me about it. So why don't one of you guys take the reins?
It'll be Fitz.
Okay.
All right.
Sure,
He's our
I'll talk
news
about
man.
this because
You like it.
I like it. I have a relationship to this. It comes close to the heart.
Do you have the first version?
I do.
Well, there you go.
Yes. So this one has popped up. It was interesting. You have my interest. All right. So for those listening, on the screen is the Freewing 80 millimeter or 80 mm.
160 mms.
160 total. Give me all
I
the
don't think it
mms.
works that way.
I'm pretty sure it does, Terry.
I literally had an instructor that would say that. He goes, yeah, it's a 55 mms. Like, what? Oh, millimeters. So they come up with a V2, version 2 of the Freewing 80 millimeter twin EDF 810. And I thought, well, that's okay. Maybe it has some minor tweaks, but it looks like they actually went through and did a whole bunch of stuff. And on the screen, it's got Gatling gun with all kind of lighting effects. It's got some sort of snap-on wing instead of screw-on, because mine had 2 screws per wing to put the wings on and off. Apparently,
And it's toolless, I believe.
toolless. Well, that's nice because this is a pretty big plane. So to be able to snap the wings on and off pretty quickly is really nice.
Yeah, let's talk about the size real quick while we're jumping on that.
So this is big. This is 1.7 meters or 66.9 millimeters inches. Millimeters.
Did you just say four meters?
1.7.
1.7. Okay, I thought I heard you say 4.
1,700 millimeters. 67 inches span. It's a pretty big plane.
10 pounds without a battery, too.
It's a big plane, but it doesn't fly like that.
And by the way, it says without batteries. I think it takes
batteries.
two 6S's, if I'm not mistaken.
Mine certainly does.
5,000s. Right there?
Yeah.
Two 6S's, 5,000s. That's
Yeah.
a chunk of change.
It is not for the faint of heart. It's a big plane. It takes two 6-cell batteries of significant size. That said, two things. One, this is a fantastic flying plane, one of my favorite EDFs to fly. And two, it actually has really good run times. It's probably one of the longest flying EDFs. If you throttle back and kind of, don't use your throttle as an on-off switch, you can actually fly for quite a while too. So it's got a lot of good things going for it. It's great size. It looks like they've updated the landing gear. They've got a little more scale-looking landing gear on it.
Yeah, look at all these new features.
Yeah, formation lights on it. There was something else. I know they had a big. I don't think they says realistic scale armament. I don't think they changed it. The Gatling gun's kind of neat with I guess, flashing light to make it look like it's a Gatling.
Do you think you can see it in the daytime?
That's a good question. I
Maybe just head on.
doubt it, unless it's dusk or something. Looks like the weapons layout is about the same, maybe, although there's maybe a slight difference with the inner bombs. That's about the only thing I probably would criticize them a little bit is the weapons are a little cheesy.
Are you asking me to zoom in? I don't know what you're doing. They're looking at your screen, but I don't know what you're trying to look at.
Look at the bombs, the green ones there, yeah.
Use your
I think
board
those are
guy.
new. The
Sure, poor guy.
I think they might have changed this armament a little bit. It looks like
You
there's a
know,
targeting
you say
pod.
that, and I know we're just jumping around. I guess I can't go back to the listing here. Let me see if I can go back here. But there are like 3 versions of the airplane. Let me see if I can just go back to the screen here. So I think one of them, and at least I heard, so you got 2 that are ARF, one's plug and play, and then there's one that has in-runners.
Oh,
and a
that's
gyro.
what the thing. That's right. So apparently you can get it with in-runner motors now.
Yeah, and just adds a little bit more cash.
Yeah, and a gyro. Although
What's
it doesn't really need a gyro. Okay.
What would be the advantage of the in-runners?
More power.
You can run more cells, or they're higher KV, or
It's
that's a
higher.
good question.
I think it's higher KV. I think the Outrunners are 1900, and I think am I right? I'll find out. Let's do that. That's why we're
Those
here.
are 21
You can see
for the
we did our
in-runners.
research.
Yeah, I don't know. There's a new plane or something.
Yeah. So the Outrunners are 1900 KV, and the Inrunners are what 2100
2150, something like that.
on the other A10. So if you want to spend the $780 for that one, then yeah, you can get the Inrunner.
So you can get upgraded motors, inner runners can handle more power. So you can get, of course, you don't get something for nothing, so the runtime's going to go down. Although, to be honest, the stock power set of mine came out was just perfectly fine. I never really thought it needed more power, but there's always people out there who want more power. So there you go. You got to hopefully scratch that itch.
so is
it's
it
really
the
good.
same fans that are in yours?
Mine are outrunners, but maybe the fans are the same. I have no idea. I
I'm
imagine
looking
they
at the
are
fans right
because
now.
there's not a huge difference in the KV.
All right. Well, you sound like you've taken a shine to this, Fitz. Are you thinking about upgrading?
No, not really.
So just so
It's
you
nice.
know, the Outrunner is a 9-blade, 9-blade EDF, and the
Okay.
Inrunner's a 12-blade.
Ah, okay. So there you go. So maybe more speed. Probably Inrunners has less torque, so maybe they needed go less blades. What was going to say?
Do you have to run the Outrunners in opposite directions? Just throwing that out there. Does the
think
real
so.
A10 throw them in not the same direction?
I don't think
Probably.
it does.
Probably so.
Yeah,
Maybe.
but
I have no idea.
Just an idea, throwing it out there.
This is interesting because I was thinking, the A10 was getting a bit long in the tooth, and I actually did a review of mine pretty early when it came out, and that was 7 years ago.
Huh.
I just double checked in my video. So this thing has been out for quite a while, so it must be still a good seller. I know I saw our buddy at Bomber Field, we'll talk about that later, he had his repainted. What was his name? Lee, help me out
Sorry,
here.
I can't. I don't remember who you brought it out to. Bomber.
The one that's it's in the sort of snow camouflage. He flipped it inverted accidentally. Bomber Field. Mike McCormick, right?
Oh, I'm so sorry. Yeah, okay. You're talking very recently. Like,
Very
yeah, the one
recently,
where I
yes.
was like, you're sorry. I'd love to tell that story. It'd probably take too long, but let's just say I was spotting for Mike and he took off and he hadn't flown this in a while. That's what he said. And I'm using my finger quotes, folks, for you listening, because I hadn't flown this in a while. And I know I was by myself with Mike He gets it way out there. And I say, hey, Mike, you probably want to bring it in. And then he gets it upside down. And then I basically just looked at him and said, you're inverted. Okay, you're pointing at us. Okay, you're pointing away from us. And then Fitz walks up next to me. He goes like, what's going on? What's happening over there? Yeah, so absolutely correct. Yeah, sorry about that. That was exciting.
That's neat. So, yeah, to go back to your question, Terry, I would be. The problem is I spent so much time repainting mine and giving a custom paint scheme and stuff and decking it out that I couldn't justify getting another one. But I hope somebody I know gets one so I can fly it. Just to see how it changed and take a look and gawk at it. But yeah, if I didn't have the one I have now, then yeah, this would certainly be on the radar.
All right. Now, I don't know much about yours other than what you've told us, and same thing for this one. But my only disappointment is the same disappointment I have for every military ARF that comes out these days. It's gray on gray.
Yeah, I agree with you. I'm not impressed with the paint or lack of paint scheme, really.
We have 8,000 gallons of primer gray. What can we do with it?
Which is one of the reasons why we did mine. Mine has a custom paint job on it. It's painted as a National Guard from the Connecticut National Guard, so it's got a nice lightning strike on the side of it. It's got a little bit of color, some custom decals, some calligraphics. And I've 3D printed some additional weapons for it that a little more accurate to what they carried and that kind of stuff. With the help of my old high school buddy, he used to be in the Guard, and so I said, hey, I'm building this. You got any good photos and stuff? He goes, oh yeah, here's a couple of pictures. This is what we flew with. Let me check my old buddies to make sure this is accurate. It's like, all right, good to know friends in high places.
Yeah, cool.
So anyways, I just thought that was pretty neat that they decided to update it because it is such a really good flying model, even that we always enjoy taking it. And even though I had dinged mine, I repaired it because I liked it so much. Although I put brakes on mine. I don't know if you guys knew that. I told you about that. The thing is, it's so big, it's got a lot of momentum. So when I landed on a paved runway, it would just roll and roll and roll and roll and roll. So I found I replaced the nose gear with a electric brake version of the wheel, and that does a lot better than slowing it down.
Yeah, cool.
Terry, have you ever flown an A-10?
Yes. Trying to remember. Oh, I had the E-Flight one.
Oh, did you? Oh, yeah, the 64. Yes.
Was it 64? But yeah, it was a success plane too. Yeah,
yes, I had that same one. It did.
Yeah, and it was deceptive because you pick it up, you're like, dadgum, this thing's a chunk. For as big as it is, it's pretty darn heavy.
Yeah,
but it flew great. It would slow way down, and it was still relatively fast at full throttle. So something about a big Hershey bar wing hanging out there.
Yeah, very efficient. I even had the old GWS A10 for a while.
On brush motors?
I think I flew it just a couple of times on brush motors. In fact, one of them burnt out in flight, I remember. And so I had an engine out my
reenactment.
Reenactment. Yeah, I'm hit, Charlie, I'm hit. So I pretty quickly went to little teeny tiny brushless on it and flew it for quite a while until I did a figure 9 into the ground because I tried to loop it on low rates. Didn't realize I was on low rates until it was too late. Yeah. But I actually have another new one, new in the box. But I don't know if I'll ever build it.
What?
So yeah. What?
Lee was laughing, and then
I showed Fitz the video. Austin showed up at his club. I think I showed Fitz when I was at his house. Austin showed up at DeLand, and as soon as he got there, a guy with an A10 lost an ESC, and he was like, Fitz, I'm it. And so the guy was trying to come back, and he got it into the turn, and then he lost the other ESC, and then it locked up, and it just spiraled into a dive, and Austin got it on his cell phone, and then everybody going, oh, it's gone. it's total.
Oh, man.
Bummer.
Why would I have such a failure like that? That's
were you guys there at Best one year when the guy lost an ESC and it was spectacular? I mean, I don't know if it was a Sabre or not, but he was flying, and I mean, the smoke that came out, the smoke he released was epic. And luckily, he still had control, but it was like you heard the pow, and then it was just trailing smoke, and he got it down. It was like all eyes on that. So, anyway, sorry, you just made me think about that when you were talking about your A10.
All right, well, we need to go back to the website and talk about prices. You said there's 3 versions. There's an in-runner, an out-runner, and then what else?
Yeah, so, well, there's an ARF that's an Outrunner, $599. There's another ARF, well, sorry, there's another one, same version, except it's a plug and play. And then there's the advanced in-runner, with the bigger fans, and it's got the gyro. That's also a plug and play.
So what's the difference between ARF and plug and play?
What they call the ARF Plus.
Include
To be
ARF Plus. Does it include servos and all that? I assume plug and play.
$600, I hope so.
I know it doesn't include. Well, yeah.
The ARF requires the motors.
Okay, so no motors, no speed controllers. Maybe it does have the servos.
Yeah, it looks like the servos are in there because all it says right here is requires the EDF, motors, and 2 ESCs.
So add your own EDFs and ESCs.
Like you were talking about, Fitz, for those people who really like to upgrade theirs, they can buy it without a fan system and put whatever they want. And then I assume the other two do include fans, plug and play.
Yeah,
plug and play, just basically receiver ready.
Put your receiver, yeah.
Yeah, so for $100, 2 fans and 2 ESCs more.
No brainer, yeah.
Yeah,
if you're not power hungry, yeah. And
unless you just want to make yours a pusher.
No, unless you want to change setup. So I did
know,
when I got
golly.
when I got the F14 from them, I got the ARF Plus because I wanted to put my own fans in. And instead of using their recommended 6S setup, I put motors and fans for 8S setup. And so conceivably you can do that for this if you wanted to run a higher voltage, more efficient, like jet fans or something like that, different sound, just more power or whatever. Yeah.
And then the Cadillac here has the N-Runner fans and a gyro for $780.
Yeah.
So all right, so there's a pretty big gap between each of these versions.
What was the ARF Plus? That was
$599.
$599.
So,
Okay.
Yeah.
Yep.
And then by the time you add the fans, who knows?
Yeah.
And
Well,
the
there you go.
tariff.
And the tariff, yeah.
Depends where they're coming from.
It's coming from China.
Saskatchewan.
All right, so there's our. Now I'm realizing why we haven't talked about new products in a while, because we have the focus of a hummingbird.
All right. Well, okay. Well, let's. I think we've talked that to death anyway. So let's
Yeah.
move on. Unless you got anything last thing to say.
No,
You
not
talk
on the
about
A10. No.
Okay.
So
All right.
the next thing I wanted to talk about was some new content that we have on our website and our YouTube channel. So on the YouTube channel, Lee, you finally, hip hip hooray, released your rescue on the E-Flight F-15.
I did. I just wish you would have said, hey, could you go ahead and have that up on the screen so we could be ready for the viewers and listeners? But no, of course not. So now I got to do this all slow down. You move too fast.
Wait, this is my fault?
Yeah, I'm blaming you.
Okay.
Because, pre-show, you should have said, hey, do you mind having that ready? Since I did have the A10 stuff ready. My buddy here did not say, hey, don't forget to put this stuff up online for us. Just saying. All right, so now I can probably bring it to stage. All right, so yeah, hey, look, we're on YouTube.
YouTube.
Look how fast I did that. Terry's going to cut this perfectly. He's certainly not going to leave all that stuff earlier in this production. So yeah, if you go to our YouTube channel, you can go to playlists, and in the playlists, we have an RC Rescue playlist, and if you view the whole playlist, there are our current list of episodes, and as he mentioned, the last one that we just recently pulled off was the more power for the F-15, which is right there over my shoulder.
Yeah,
it's still in one piece. So if you haven't heard or listened to it, go check it out, and you can hear the whole story.
Yeah, it's the director's cut. What is it? 45 minutes?
Yeah, if you wanna, I hadn't talked to you guys since I did that. Because I didn't tell y'all to go look at it. I don't know even. I mean, looking at Fitz because he probably didn't look at it either.
No.
Yeah, see, Fitz is totally clueless. He hasn't seen the rescue.
I've made it
Change
through. I'm past the point where we switch over from pre-fixing to post-fixing, but I haven't finished it yet.
Well, here, I mean, if it's okay with you, do you mind if I interject, Terry? Or would you like us to move on?
No,
Can I
go
play?
ahead.
Can I play the beginning for Fitz so he can enjoy this?
Oh, we're going to play the video now?
Well, just the
That'd be good.
beginning, because since he didn't watch this, it'll explain to him why we did it the way we did. And I can't jump there, so we'll just let it catch up.
Hey, look, it's us.
We're seeing ourselves on the screen. All right, see if can you hear this?
No.
You're going to have to
Not
dub
hearing
it, Lee.
You can't hear?
No,
What?
we can't hear it.
Oh, you can't hear it.
Do your best voiceover.
Oh, okay. So I'll just cut this out. So anyway, Fitz, the story is I started editing the rescue, and I'm looking at Terry because he's talking about editing his and how he can put his together, and his audio's off or something. But I was editing hours, and it was over 2 hours, almost
What?
3 hours.
2
I'm like,
hours?
it was over 2 hours from the before we started it and the after show we did. It was a long time. It was over 2 hours,
kidding?
guys. I am not
Lawrence of
kidding
Arabia,
you.
huh?
It was over 2 hours of video that we recorded, and you guys are just like, "Oh, we can talk about anything." It's like an episode. So I truncated it down to like 40 something minutes, and so I pulled all the nonsense out. I just cut right to the chase. So in any case, look at Terry. But
now
maybe for our Patreon fans, we'll put the raw video up and have you guys bore yourself to death with the 2 hour episode of RC Rescue.
Or for enemies.
And you're forgetting we don't have Patreon.
That's true. So there you go. So
But
all zero.
I am now remembering a little conversation about BECs in parallel,
Yep.
where Fitz may or may not have been completely wrong. But
That was mostly wrong.
I'll just
See,
leave that to
Fitz, I
everyone's
saved you the
imagination.
long discussion. Fitz, Terry's just going to tell you you're wrong, and we move on.
Yeah.
So
I won't
anyway,
make
Completely
you-
wrong.
Too
go
much
back
of
to
that.
your.
Completely wrong.
I mean, we could. The sum is the question was when you plug in two ESCs, such as a twin, the F15 or the A10, do you run each throttle cable to the receiver with the power on or power off, one of them off, and does it depend on what type of ESC it is, and do you run a separate battery? Do you choose to run a separate battery so you can save your butt?
Oh,
and
you
I
mean
chose-
separate receiver battery.
A separate receiver battery. Yes, that is
Yeah.
correct. So I opted to just, what, I'm just going to do what Flightline does with my P38 and my Tiger Cat. I just plugged both ESCs in. I flew and then moved on.
Well, the recommended approach is if they are linear BECs, as in non-switching BECs, you can run as many as you want in parallel. But if they're switching BECs, disable all but one by removing the power cable. And if you're running a separate receiver battery, disable both BECs.
Yeah, definitely recommend that. The thing is, I've run multi-parallel switching BEC ESCs forever and never had a problem.
Right. That's the catch. It's not a guaranteed mushroom cloud if you run them in parallel, but your risk of something going wrong is elevated. So,
Yeah, see, the only thing that was going wrong with this was weight and CG. And landing. So enjoy the landing of my F-15 video. But yeah, please go watch the RC Rescue, and hopefully we'll see a rescue from Fitz soon.
that is not encouraging, Fitz.
Wink, wink, a little pressure.
Okay, I got to find something.
Oh, too bad I'm leaving town.
Close your eyes and reach
yeah,
in
sorry.
any direction. You'll find something.
RC rescue. Hey, a bunch of stuff.
Yeah.
Yeah, how much of a rescue should I do?
It's up to you.
I think a DeLorean rescue is worth 50 RC rescues.
That's what I really need to do. Screw the RC. I need a car rescue.
It's a 30-minute video of a guy sitting next to his DeLorean just crying. Just trying to polish the stainless steel.
Well, the problem is...
Why did I buy this thing?
The problem is every time I start getting ready, I was like, where the hell do I start?
That's why you need to get like 6
basket
friends and say,
case.
just start over there, I'm over here, just do what you can. We'll meet in the middle.
Such a basket case. Yeah.
So are you still thinking about electrifying it?
Oh, yeah.
Okay. But you
But I'd
haven't
like to see if
committed
the
one
engine
way or
runs
the other.
first.
Okay. All right. Well, that's a topic for another show. We can really
Yeah, it's
take
another
a
thing.
deep
We don't
dive on that.
Get into that.
All right. So the other new content I wanted to talk about is something that just went up today, and we're recording this on Tuesday. So for those of you listening, it'll have been up for a few days. But it's an article I did way back then. You guys know we've been posting some of my old tested articles. This latest one I put up is about the Russian space shuttle, Buran. And, it's kind of interesting. It looked just like the U.S. space shuttle, but really it was only the exterior that looked the same. Everything inside the skin was completely different. So I present what is different and my theories as to why it looked the same. So I think you'll find it interesting.
I'm sure there will be a link in the video below.
Oh, yeah, I can put a link there. But if you're listening, if you just go to our website, there's an extras button, a menu, and it'll take you to a page that has all these tested articles as we put them up. So should be easy to find.
Right there. Terry's interview, extras, home, all the stuff.
Yeah, well, go to extras again. And then if you go to the bottom link, that's the link to all the articles. So there's 3 of them now. One about the Packard Merlin. Oh, 4 of them, excuse me. The Packard Merlin, the spacesuit fire, water injection. I don't think we talked about this one yet. Did you ever?
I thought you talked about it at some point in the past. We did.
Maybe.
Go back
yeah.
one.
Go back.
Go back one page. It's a little innocuous. Can you suggestion to click here for articles and tested? Maybe make it bigger, different color, or a box or something.
I'll make it flashing.
Little fingers.
Well, it just seems like I probably would have missed it.
Yeah, I would have made the bold type clickable.
All right, fine. All right.
Look at us jumping on Terry's.
Just a suggestion, especially the one that says click here for tested. It'd be nice if it.
These are kind of small. This is
It's
a nice
the same. All right.
This is a nice 80s style website.
Serenity Now.
MySpace.
All right, so move on. This
Go
was
look,
not
Ian,
on the
give us your
agenda. Jackasses. All right, so
Constructive criticism.
speaking of giving things to people, Lee, you want to talk about your recent gift to that ingrate Fitz?
I don't know if he has it near him. Does he have the gift?
Bite my shiny metal. No, it's right here.
So, some of you may have I love it. Some of you may have listened to this show, hopefully, and we went to Joe Nall. It may have been the first time we went to Joe Nall, but we walked by a tent that had a composite F-16 XL, and I thought Fitz was going to wet himself. I mean, he was just drooling. Goes, oh, that's what I want. And I mean, I don't know the price tag. I think it was one of those, if you have to ask, you can't afford it. But it was gorgeous. So I've always remembered that in the back of my mind that Fitz wanted that. So we've been printing some 3D planes, excuse me, and a friend of mine printed me a 3D plane from a guy named Kyle. I think his PTI Kyle. I don't know. He's got weird names all over the place. However, if you look here on the screen, this is a design of an F-16 XL that he made for 3D printing. And he does his with a lightweight PLA, but I had some PLA I wanted to test for Fitz because mine is just standard PLA, so it has some weight to it. But I knew I had to print this, so anyway, I printed one up and went over to Fitz's house, and now he's got his hands on an F-16 XL. So I'm looking forward to hopefully him finishing that before Joe Nall, so we could fly together.
Yeah, this is.
That'd be cool.
Thank you very much. You're right. I've always loved this plane. We also saw one at just over the land too. A guy was flying one around. Really nice.
Oh, that's correct. Yes.
It's actually the guy importer is Werber Models. Chris Hogg here, and local guy has them.
Oh, that's right. Thank you.
Yeah, I really liked it. The one he has, of course, is a turbine, but it's huge. It's like for like a 200 size turbine. And I really wish they made one smaller for either EDF or at least like an 80 size turbine or something. That really, really nice. And still you have to really shell out so much money for it. But because it's still a good sized plane. And years and years ago, I was telling Lee, I actually scratch built a really crude version of the F-16XL. I started with an F-16 chuck glider. I think, I don't know if Walmart had them or somebody had these little F-16 just chuck gliders, the foamies.
Did Robart used to make one?
I don't know if it was Robart. It was many moons ago, so I'm trying to remember.
Yeah, okay.
And so I said, well, that's cool, but I want an XL. So I hacked the wings off and cut out foam. I had a hot wire foam cutter,
awesome.
my own wings for it. I wish I could find a picture. I had a picture somewhere of it. And this is the days of round cells and brushed motors. And so it had a pusher setup of a Speed 400 that I had retimed and water broken in and all kinds of stuff. And I think it was running thing off of 8 cells. It was pushing it. And that motor got hot, but it was a trooper. It stayed running. And the thing flew pretty good. I think the first couple of flights of CG was all out of whack. And so it survived my CG finessing. And then I flew quite a bit. Somebody took a picture of it somewhere at like DEF. If you ever heard of that, Dallas Electric Aircraft Flyers used to have a fly-in.
Yeah.
Many years
That's where I
ago.
met you, Fitz.
Was it really?
I think so.
Okay, I'm trying to remember where I met you, and I don't remember. I thought it was down here, but maybe it was up there. And so it was painted black and white, like the NASA version, I think. And I also got the chance to see the real ones. Not flying, but there was, when I used to do flight test support out at Edwards Air Force Base, they had 1 or 2 sitting on a tarmac, just sitting there out in the sun. And I was driving by, and it's like, that's an F-16XL. Wasn't this dude sitting there? Unfortunately, it was A, behind the fence, and B, no photography was allowed. I was like,
How many did they make? I thought there was just one prototype.
There's 2. I know there's at least 2. There's 2 or 3. Okay. But I know there's at least 2 that they made. And in one of them, they changed the wing. It's asymmetrical. If you find pictures, it's really cool. They're doing tests on, I guess, the leading edge, and one had sort of a straight leading edge instead of the cranked one on one side. So I think one side was normal, one side was oddball shaped for some reason. And so they used them for a lot of research at the NASA Dryden Center for a while, and I don't know where they are now. Maybe somebody, if you were live, Tony could tell us. But so I've always been a fan. Just thought it was just a neat design. It was in competition as a strike fighter that the F-15 ultimately won, but apparently it was a very capable design. I have a plastic model one somewhere I've had for years. In fact, that's right. I have a newer one, plastic model, big one. But when I was a kid, teenager, I built a little tiny plastic model one because even back then I liked the design so much. It's very futuristic. Anyways, I don't want to go wax too poetic on it, but
No, and that's cool. And so the nice thing is that I went ahead and gave Fitz the plans or the STL files, because I'm not planning to print it. So it's my gift to Fitz. And then you just upsize it. So, I think he's going to make a 70 millimeter and hopefully lightweight PLA.
That would be cool. Yeah, that's definitely in the plan.
Well, what
it's easy to
size
hand
fan
launch
is
too. Oh,
the
sorry.
one you have? What size fan does it take?
This is
50.
a 50 mm.
Okay.
So yeah, 50
Nice.
millimeter is what it's designed for. So it's just a little hand launch. What's the wingspan of this thing? Like 20 inches maybe.
But that's a lot of wing.
But it's mostly wing. So even though it's printed on a heavier PLA, it's probably will fly okay.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'll find one.
Very stout.
And it's got a nice grip, so you can chuck it.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. For hand launching it, should be easy to do. So a 70 mil with no landing gear should be very light. Also very easy to hand launch. Well, we saw a video one, right? So a guy had a upsized one.
Yeah. Yeah, and he had enough like 1-to-1 power to that thing, because he had it. He had his hand like this, and it was just pushing against his hand.
Cool.
So
What might be neat is to take an off-the-shelf F-16, like the E-Flight one or something, hack the wings off, and scale up just the wing part of the STL files and 3D print wings for it.
Oh, there you go.
And have basically a clutch version of a one that has retractable landing gear and maybe 80 millimeter fan on it or something like that.
Is the fuselage essentially the same?
That was my next thing. No, believe it or not, the XL has a lengthened fuselage. They added in the section to the fuselage to lengthen it a little bit.
Okay.
One or two sections, at least one section. I think it might have been two. So yeah, technically they're not. It's a lengthened F-16 with a cranked arrow wing,
All right.
and I think it's missing the ventral fins too, if I remember correctly.
Yeah, I don't think
right.
they're on there.
Yeah, I think they were able to remove them. It was stable enough.
So I have a technical question for you, Fitz.
Yeah.
You said that on your previous model, you hot wire cut the wings for it,
Yes.
but they're highly tapered. Did you have any
Yeah.
issues with cutting a highly tapered wing with a wire?
Yeah, it was tricky, and it's in a couple of different sections. So I didn't do it in one cut for each side.
Okay.
Each wing is, I think it was two or three pieces. And it was very highly tapered. So getting the wire to do it, I think I had to do it several times to get it right because it
Right.
was just
Yeah.
such a highly tapered, tricky cut.
Yeah, it goes really slow across the tip and relatively fast at the root. And
Right. And so you ended up a lot of times overheating the tips because they're running so slow and trying to get it to even. So I won't say it was a really perfect cut, but it was good enough. I sanded it out and
All right.
that kind of stuff. But it was a neat exercise in hot wiring a wing and that kind of stuff. And then I think a year or two later, somebody we all know got a CNC wire cutter. It was too late for me to use it, but it was neat that finally that would have done it a lot easier if I had decided to do it again. But anyways,
well, that's why I asked, because I've got the one CNC cutter that I use for certain things. And
Yeah.
in the manual for that, it says that if the difference in chord between the root and the tip is more than about 30%, it's not going to work.
oh, it can't handle it. Interesting.
Well,
Interesting.
machine-wise, it could, but they said you'll probably get bad cuts because of the difference in the relative speed.
You probably
Not
have to
that I've
break it
ever
up.
tried it, but yeah, maybe you could. So
Yeah. Interesting.
anyway, that was maybe I'll try it one day just to see what happens.
Yeah. Give it a shot.
All right.
Well,
Thanks,
I'm gonna
thanks again,
add-
Lee. I appreciate it. Go ahead.
You're welcome. I was going to add to the 3D printing, and then we can close shop. Is after I printed the F-16 for Fitz, I got my hands on some lightweight PLA because I hadn't been using it before, and so I tried a couple of parts. Do you have those pieces, Fitz, nearby? The tail cone?
No, I think it's in the
okay
box
if you
way over the other table.
That's
Sorry.
okay. So I got it because Austin bought it for me for a P38 by 3D Lab. 3D, what's it called?
3D lab print, I think.
3D Lab print, thank you. And I don't think it was made for lightweight PLA. There's some issues, at least with the STL files that I have. So I had it. I was doing some test prints. Obviously, I can see the benefit of weight savings right off the bat. But I am interested in printing a new plane. So this is what I'm printing right now. So I just downloaded these plans today. And what's interesting is that I saw this kit at Perry Swap Meet, and it's by the same company that made my little Alpha, my Avanti, excuse me.
You want to say
And-
what it is for those listening?
Oh, I'm sorry. It is. It's a 50 millimeter T33, and it's just like the Kyosho, except it's a little tiny. It's a little tiny hand toss. But I like my Avanti 50 millimeter, so I was thinking about getting that T33, and I just said, I'm just going to get one. But now that I'm, printing with this lightweight PLA, I'm giving this sucker a try, and it's this guy just came out. And he only has 5 people have downloaded it, so I'm crossing my fingers it works well. But
It works.
well, I mean, I'm printing the nose cone. The first part is printing right now, so. Hopefully I'll have this sucker printed and ready so Fitz and I can throw our 3D planes in the air at Joe Dahl.
Are you going to use the Avanti fan again?
No, I think I'll get a separate fan just for this one.
Well, that's what I mean. But that same.
Oh, I thought you were like, no, I'm going to yank this one out. No, yes, same brand. Yeah. No, I mean, it flies great. It's great little setup. It's the same fan that I use in the other 3D printed plane I have, the FAXX, FAAX, FA, whatever it is. Whatever the guy Kyle calls it.
FFAX?
The one that flies like crap. Yes, that one.
What?
So if I crack, I don't know. I gotta do some work on that. I
You're
did fix
bitter
it
'cause you
though.
had a bad landing. Have you flown it since that
It
first?
was pretty. It was a pretty hot landing. I haven't flown it since. No, I got the new nose on, and I'm ready to get back into the saddle. So we'll give it a try.
Yeah, that was
I
a
should-
worm burner landing.
It was bad.
Yeah, by
Coming
the
in
way,
hot.
Lee, I ordered a fan and some Metal Gear servos for this, so they're
Awesome.
on the way.
Yay!
So look for it now. You can sign Fitz's jet. I'm talking to the listeners now.
That'd be cool to have a bunch of signatures on it.
Oh, okay.
Like
I was joking.
Plywood
but, all
Overcast?
right. Yeah.
Yeah.
All right. Are we
Yeah.
ready to move on?
We are ready to move on. Let's move on, moving on.
All right. Well, you guys stole my thunder. We were going to talk about upcoming events, one of which is Joe Knoll. So update us on that.
It's an event. It's coming next month.
Okay. When exactly? And when will you guys
I
be
don't know.
there?
May
something like
9th-ish through the 16th-ish.
Are
We're
you
planning
saying- Go ahead.
We're planning to leave that Saturday. I think Friday's the opening, so that's the night. So 10th is when we're leaving, and we're going to
From
get there.
Houston.
Yeah, it's
Like
just ask me the
departing to
questions
go
I can
to-
answer. Every time I say
Washington.
something, you want to know something else. What do you
Because
want to
you're
know?
vague. You say you're leaving.
No.
I don't know.
Well,
if you
then
mean you're
tell me
leaving.
what you want to know. I'll give you the answer.
When will you get there? When will you leave?
The 11th. 11th. We leave the 16th of May. My God, what are you? You're terrible at interviewing.
So how long you
Drawing a
here?
mustache.
If I was one of those actors, I'd be walking out of this interview. I'm done. Where's my agent? Don't ever book me with this person again.
Namaste. All right. So I'm going to shut up. You tell me what you think people want to hear about Joe Knoll.
Well, I will say, if you guys get a chance, I've interviewed Rob Williams before for Joe Knoll last year, but we did a new AMA air last week. And so if you go to Academy of Model Aeronautics YouTube page, you guys can pick up AMA air and listen to the interview I did with Rob Williams. And he will tell you he's the, executive director at Triple Tree Aerodrome, and he can tell you all the juicy details about Joe Knoll, what it's all about. I encourage you to listen to that because he's got a lot of good information. You can go to the website tta.aero to learn more. Fitz and I have been to Joe Knoll twice. The first year was like just little glassy-eyed, mystic mystery. What do you call it? Like Magic Kingdom, just completely just overwhelmed by it all. And then the following year
we left before it really got started too.
Yeah, that's right, because we went for like the beginning of the week. So we knew we had to come back. We did. Had one heck of a time with Phil Tallman hanging out there, renting an RV, and just enjoying the heck out of it. This year, we are going to stay at a hotel. Mike Liable is joining us. He's our good friend, and we flew out JSC. I mean, I don't know. We can keep talking about Mike, but he's going to bring his B-24. It was on his bucket list, and he seems very excited and very eager to hit the road. And we will be there the whole week. We will leave, I guess it's Sunday morning. So after the day after it's over, which is Saturday. And I just had my trailer serviced, so I had a new axle put on and new.
Oh, wait, say that again. So we're going to leave on Sunday?
No, we leave. Well, for Joe Knoll. No.
Back.
I guess we just need to decide that. I figured we'd leave Sunday.
Okay. That's fine. I just wasn't sure. I don't think we ever talked about when we're leaving.
Yeah, and you know what? Now that I'm thinking
offline.
about it, yeah, I think maybe we did decide to leave Saturday afternoon. We'd leave the hotel, go back to Triple Tree, hang out there till the afternoon, and then head home.
That'd be good, yeah.
That's what we decided. So
I pinged my friend Greg. He wanted to come out and say hello on that Saturday, I think, before we leave. So
okay. And
Okay, go
I
ahead,
still
you were
need to
saying?
decide what I'm going to bring.
yeah, you and me both.
Other than your
Airplane.
new jet. The F-16 you're bringing.
Yes, just that.
Yeah.
Yeah, this
only
is the only
bring
plane I'm bringing. We're bringing a big trailer so I can bring one.
Yeah.
plane.
Just for Mike Liebel's B-24.
Yeah.
I think we're all deciding like one big plane each, two medium-sized planes, and a float plane.
Yeah.
And then little planes that we can just chunk, like UMX planes that we can chunk in the back of the Suburban.
All right, cool.
So I might bring a boat.
Ooh, all right. I like that. I definitely got to bring my Twin Otter.
Yeah. Yeah,
What
we should
boat
mention
do you have?
float flying. I have lots of boats.
Like a speedboat, or I know you have boats, but
I'm not sure. Whether a spring boat or sailboat or just a little putt boat. I'm not
Dragon.
sure. Dragon?
Oh, there you go.
the Dragon Force. Yeah. Yeah, it's pretty deep there, isn't it? Yeah.
Oh, yeah, you have no
It's a
problem
nice
there.
small sailboat. I like sailboats, so maybe I'll just do that.
all right, cool. All right, so I think you guys covered Joe Knoll.
Well, I was gonna add something. We need to talk to Ron,
Ron Hall.
RC Plane Lab. Yeah.
Yeah.
and see if we want to do another live show. That was so much fun
Yeah, it
last
was.
time.
We had a good time with him.
And
so
Tom.
he is.
And Tom, sorry, I just needed. I was going to call.
Yeah, they
Ron.
confirmed they're both coming, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Sorry, Tom. Just saying he's like Terry. He's the guy you got to talk to. The one in charge.
But you think I'm in charge?
Oh yeah, you're bossy man. Texting us. Are we going to do a show? Are we going to do a show? What time are we doing the show? Phones off. Sorry.
So I guess we'll make sure
Love
we.
ya. Love ya.
All right. So yeah, you guys should do that. That would be cool if you guys could do another combined show.
Yeah, bring 20 mics. Let's just get a whole hodgepodge.
I was going to
of people
say
in.
the equipment. Well, they had a pretty fancy setup.
Oh,
those
yeah.
guys.
I will reach out to him.
All right. So now we're ready to move on to the next thing.
Yes,
Sure.
as
So
long as you
that's
ask the right
Lee.
questions.
Are you ready for it, Lee?
I'm ready for the questions.
It's your much rescheduled swap meet.
Yeah, it's so unfortunate.
This is the third time now.
Yeah. It's so this is the weirdest thing because we're pre-recording, but hey, it's this weekend, or for you listening 3 weeks later, hey, it happened a long time ago. So, yeah, our event is this weekend. I have a mild conflict where my wife keeps evil eyeing me because we made dinner plans with some couples many moons ago before this was rescheduled, and she was like, "You're not going to miss the dinner." So every time I talk about I'm going to the swap meet, don't forget I'm going to the swap meet Saturday, and then you're coming back before the dinner. So yes, dear, I'm
Swap
gonna
meets
be
in the
back.
morning, dinners at night.
Yeah, exactly. You have to shower. You have to put your stuff away. Put your toys away.
Details.
Yeah, exactly.
Don't you get sunburned?
Oh, that's good. It's like, ow. Can you hand me a beverage? No, we'll be good. We'll be good. Gosh.
Dinner at Red Lobster tonight.
I got to tell you, Fitz, did you go outside today? Were you outside at all?
I did
today?
a little bit, yeah.
Oh my gosh. What beautiful weather we had. And I don't know why I wasn't flying. I should have just called my boss and said, "Hey, buddy, I don't feel so good." Head out to the field. It was gorgeous. So I'm really hoping this is the weather we have Saturday.
Yeah, our club group chat was on fire today. It's like, we're going out to the field. It's like 5-mile-per-hour winds and sunny and warm. And beautiful California weather. It's like, yeah.
It was gorgeous today.
I
So yeah.
didn't go.
Yeah, me neither. So I need to. I'm hoping it'll be nice. And yes, because we have a warbird. It's a swap meet plus it's a warbird fun fly. Oh. So I want to make sure I get a couple flights in. I'm thinking of bringing my P-47, my Seagull P-47.
All right. Northwest Houston RC Club.
Yep.
Where are you?
NWRCC.com. We're off of Katie Hockley in
Houston?
West Houston.
Yeah.
Okay. So you're in West Houston, and the club's named Northwest Houston.
Okay, it's Northwest Houston, but it's like West Houston, just north of West Houston.
Just north of West.
It's just right across the parallel.
All right. Well, have fun with that. Is the forecast looking pretty good now?
The 2-day forecast I saw looked great. Let me go pull it up real quick and then see what we have here.
Yeah, so far what I heard was it's going to be pretty nice for the rest of the week, but we'll see.
I hope so.
It could change, but
You're hearing this live, folks.
The date is April 12th. Saturday, April 12th. Okay.
we had a weird thing. We had a cold front come through, and last couple of nights were really cold. I had to turn the heat on.
Really?
But today was just absolutely fantastic. Yeah. Overnight, yeah.
85 degrees, plenty of sunshine. It feels like we'll be 90, and it's going to be 7-mile-an-hour winds.
All right.
And I can't go.
That's good flying weather.
And you can't go. And why can't you go? That's your question, Terry.
So, Fitz, why can't you go?
Because I got to go to the homeland.
Fitz just had a seizure.
Luigi, give me the pizza.
Pasta, spaghetti,
Pasta,
lasagna.
spaghetti.
This was
Maserati.
Kevin
Lamborghini.
Klein from A Fish Called Wanda. Oh my goodness. Mozzarella.
So
Okay,
So
go
once
ahead, Fitz.
again, Yeah, I know it's terrible. Sorry to all my Italian listeners. I love you. Love your food. Grew up with a lot of Italians.
Well, why are you so rude to me?
But yeah, what is the joke? What do you call a Italian with no hands? Mute. Sorry.
Okay, someone is going to Italia.
I'm going to Italy. Yes, it's for work, so it's not for vacation. But my first time there. I've actually never been to Italy, so I'm really looking forward. But unfortunately, I'm leaving the day of the fly-in, so I'm leaving on Saturday for a week, and I won't be back for a week and a couple days. So hasta la pasta. I had all kinds of plans. It was kind of a last-minute trip almost. So it will be interesting. I'll be in a place called Turin, which is in North Italy, and it's known for being the Italian Detroit of sorts. A lot of automobile manufacturers or automobile. There's like a auto museum. I hope I get to see. That's up there. There's a few other museums. There's a Egyptian museum of all things there. Apparently, that's really nice. And it's known where, supposedly they had a cloth with the face of Jesus.
The Shroud of Turin.
Shroud of Turin, yes. But there's also, I'm going there to talk work, so it'll be pretty cool to see what Italy's like and see what real pizza looks like. And I'll get back. And so forth. So you guys keep the home fort ready for me, and hopefully I'll have a nice report when I get back.
All right.
It'll be pretty cool. I plan to have a stopover in Joliot, England on the way back for a couple of days as well.
Oh, okay, cool.
Our museum stopping?
Yeah, I was talking to our buddy Adam, and I said, "Hey, how's that?" Yeah, I know he's he's a Anglophile. So I said, "Hey, I heard about the because one museum apparently that's not too far away that I've never been to called the Imperial War Museum, I believe it's called."
Yeah.
Because I asked him, I said, "Hey, how's the aircraft contingent?" He said, "That's actually pretty good. It's got a lot of American stuff in the War Museum, but the aircraft section is actually quite nice. So I'll see if I can find a way to get up there." I was looking on a map, and it's public transportation might be an issue, so it might be a combination of train and Uber to get there, or unless I can convince one of my extended family members to drive me up or something, but we'll see. I'll play by ear when I get there.
All right, cool.
But, I don't plan on really doing a whole lot, but that would be neat to go up there, and if I can, hit up a hobby shop.
Of course.
Yeah. I want to do that in Italy too. I'm not sure. There's one I saw that might fit the bill if I can find time to squeeze it in. But I always like to visit hobby shops and when I'm in other countries, or actually anywhere, anywhere I go somewhere. Right. So we'll see.
All right. Well, safe travels, buddy.
Thanks.
All right. Are there any other events here? There are. So I don't know if this would qualify as an event, but what were you guys doing at Bomber Field recently?
Flying models.
Was that an event, or did you just go there to fun fly?
It was an event. It was their each year Bomber Field has a jet event.
Okay.
I forgot what they call it. Jet something.
Jets over Bomber.
Jets over Bomber. Yeah.
That sounds good.
Yeah. It's this thing they do. A lot of jet flyers are up there. It's real popular with the turbine guys and stuff like that. So it's in any kind of jets, electric, ducted fan, glow, whatever.
Yeah.
Turbine. So as you guys know, I've been tinkering with trying to get my turbine waiver for some time now, like years. But it's one of those things, trying to get around to it, trying to get coordinated for forever. Because I bought that F-16 turbine model, and it's been sitting on the desk. And I was trying to, get a kick in the butt. It happened, I think, just at COVID or just before COVID. So I kind of had a delay, and then never got around to it. I finally decided, okay, I need to really get this thing and learn how to fly, get my waiver. And so I recruited a local guy here to kind of help me set up, get my waiver, what the things I needed to know. He was able to check out the jet. We started it up for the first time, ran it around. It seemed to do pretty good. I ended up taking the jet to the AMA Fun Fly and had our buddy Andy Griffith, yeah. Made it, yeah. So he put it up. We got on a buddy box. I was going to fly it around a little bit. And that was the last time I flew it. And so when I came back and I just couldn't get coordinated, and then I had injury in my eye, and then just things were just not, the stars weren't aligning. So, and then I was talking to the guy, and I said, hey, there's a jet event coming up. Maybe I can just bring this thing up there and try to get my waiver up there. Because I had been practicing some maneuvers. He said, hey, to do the waiver, I would like to see these particular type of maneuvers and see if you can do them smoothly and in sequence, and you could knock it out pretty quickly. So I've been using an EDF to practice some maneuvers because with the waiver, you don't just go take off and land. You got to take off. You got to do a certain set of maneuvers. You got to show proficiency, some level of proficiency in doing those maneuvers, and then land and that kind of stuff. So so I said, well, this jet meet's coming up. Looks like the weather might be good. It'd be a good opportunity to do this. And he was a little skeptical. He says, well, I don't know if you want to do that during a jet meet, but I mean, I can certainly willing to help you out if you need it. I said, okay, well, let me we need 2 people. That's another thing, is you need 2 people with their waivers, and the one person with the waiver has to have, was it a CD status, I think, with the AMA. It was interesting. Just one of them does. So I said, well, I have another guy I know has a waiver. He'd be willing to help me out. I'm sure he's going to be there. And so, I ended up calling him up and said, hey, there's a jet meet. You're going to be at the jet meet? He said, yeah, I'll be there. I said, hey, would you mind helping me do the waiver thing? Because he's one of my club members. He goes, yeah, not only that, I'll do you one better. He says, you can fly my plane. It's real easy to fly. It's already set up. I'll let you fly it around and get your waiver with that. I'm like, okay. So as an offer I couldn't refuse, because the F-16 is nice, but I was a little apprehensive because it's a little more of a hot performer, especially after seeing Andy fly it. I could tell that you definitely had to be on your toes landing it, especially because it's not a floater. And so his is in fact, I'll show you a picture. Give me a second. He's got an MBB 339, but not the Hangar 9 one. It's a different one.
There you go.
Okay, so here it is, the MBB 339. He told me it's a J&B Aero or something like that, if I remember correctly. So there's Russ, a fellow club member, and very, very generous gentleman to let me test fly his plane for a waiver. Not only that, we didn't even do a buddy box. He says, here, just fly it. Although it wasn't without some drama. How far do we want to go into it, Lee?
We're pretty far now, but go ahead.
Okay, let's go into the drama. Okay, so he had flown it early in that day, so just to check it out. He said, hey, okay, so it's ready to go. And so we started trying to remember the sequence of events here. So we went over the safety procedures and startup procedures and stuff, and he gives it to me. And so I start to taxi, and I go out, and it kind of does a left turn on me. I said, well, that's odd. And I said, I don't think I did that. And I was trying to steer to get out from the taxiway into the main runway, and the steering wasn't quite acting right. I said, something's wrong. It's not steering quite right. And so we brought it back, shut it down, checked some things. I thought, well, maybe
Fitz just completely forgot to tell you what he ran into, but okay, we can continue on.
Well, I kind of ran into the fence a little bit. But
Just saying.
I was literally at a snail's pace.
Aren't you glad I was here, Terry, to let you know about that?
They ran into the fence for the pilot station, but it was really, really slow.
But you did. That's what I pointed it out.
and I also noticed the brakes seemed a little mushy, but
oh my God, brakes.
So
maybe.
And so we went through a couple iterations. We thought it might have been a mic interfering because I was mic'd up, and that wasn't it. Ultimately, we found out his steering servo was going out. It had an intermittent connection on it. And so he pulled it out. And fortunately, somebody had a replacement servo he could put in there because it wasn't even a normal size servo. And so the trooper he went in and replaced the servo. He said, okay, we're ready. And so I went out, we started back up. I go out to taxi, and the servo's reversed. So we got to go in and change the radio program because it's the rudder was fine, but the servo, the nose steering was reversed. And so he got that set up. And
was it a different brand of servo or something?
It was, yeah, it was a different brand.
Okay, so it rotated the opposite direction.
It just naturally rotated opposite direction, so you got that. Okay. And did we have another problem? Yeah, we did, sort of. So he's fixed that. He fixed the other thing. We went out again, and this time the servo was working right. I did it again. I noticed the brakes were really intermittent and mushy. He's like, "Yeah, just do it." I was like, "Okay, all right." So we go out, and I go out and I taxi out. I just taxi out really slow and wait for the thing to clear. Fortunately, not hardly anybody was flying. I think when I took off, nobody was flying. So I lined up, started my takeoff roll. Yeah, I didn't mention this, Lee, but during the takeoff roll, I noticed it seemed a little sensitive on the nose gear. And so what I did, I just kind of pulled back in the elevator to release the pressure on the nose gear, and it took off pretty quickly. And once in the air, gear up, and it was a really, really nice flying model. It just flew around really sweet. It was very maneuverable enough for me to do what I needed to do. I did some pattern stuff, did some aerobatics with it. Different throttle settings. It's a really nice flying model. I can see why the Hangar 9 one is real popular, because it's just easy handling model. Anybody can fly it, really. Just you got to know the nuances of a turbine.
Does this one have a gyro on it?
Okay, so that's what I'm getting to. This is the good part. So, as far as I know, there was no gyros on the main surfaces, but when I landed, I did a really nice landing. He kind of guided me down. Said, "Okay, pull back to about idle here, pin a little throttle there, and then make sure you flare." So there was no problem. I get a nice, good landing, nice, smooth. And as soon as I touched down, that thing was like all over the place. It was.
I got it on video, folks. We'll see it eventually.
Yeah, it was Tokyo Drift. This thing.
It was definitely drift.
God, it's like, what the hell is that? Was it this new servo really, really sensitive? And I kept it on the runway barely, but this thing was skidding. He didn't care. He was like, "Yeah, that's okay. Just taxi back." So I'm taxiing this thing back really slow, and it's all I can do to keep it taxiing straight. And we get it back, and as soon as we get it back and we get it shut down, we realize oh, wait a minute, the nose wheel has a gyro on it, and we didn't reverse the gyro because the servo's reversed.
So it was divergent on you.
So I was divergent. So I took off and landed with a reverse nose wheel gyro. So I told him, "So do I get extra bragging points for getting my waiver with a backwards gyro on?" We're just showing a picture of the plane I used, and after I landed and got the waiver. So it's a really interesting process. I'll stop sharing. Getting the waiver. Lee was asking some questions. The interesting thing, I think, for doing this is really the nuances of a turbine. Imagine trying to fly a plane that's always at, say, 1/3 throttle almost. So that's why you need the brakes on it. It always kind of wants to move in a sense. And then there's a lag. So there's one maneuver where we got to do a missed approach. So you got to slow down, kind of get dirty, and then do your missed approach and then throttle up and climb out of it. And you can't just jam the throttle and climb. You got to go full throttle, count a few seconds, and then start pulling out, because it takes a finite time for the turbine to spool up. And same thing for taxiing. You got to sort of think ahead when you're taxiing with the throttle and doing aerobatics.
Have you ever been on a jet ski?
No, I haven't.
Yeah, sometimes when you're throttling up and you're trying to turn, you're giving it throttle and you just got to wait till the water gets in there and starts pushing you. It's like, okay, I'm hoping I'm going this way, and I'm hoping I'm turning that way. That's how it kind of felt when you were taxiing around. It's like you were trying to hit the throttle. Do you hear it rev up? And it was like, okay, now I'm going to go.
Yeah. In fact, that's what I was doing. I rev up, and then I pull back down, and then the plane would start moving. It was the weirdest thing.
So with the throttle, you can just jam the stick. I assume whatever controls the throttle is going to regulate how fast it actually ramps up the RPMs.
Yeah, there's a ECU, engine control unit, that regulates all that, so you don't have a compressor stall and that kind of stuff.
Okay.
So you can. It's just it's not instant. Apparently they're a lot better than they used to be, but it's still there's the jet lag, or we want to call it spool up lag, jet lag, turbo lag. So that's one of the key things is to know how to fly with that lag. And in fact, some years ago I did that with my BD-10. I set the speed control. It's electric, 90 millimeter, and I set the speed controller to a helicopter mode, because helicopters have that spool up. And I said, well, I wanted to simulate what it was like to fly a turbine, so I put it in helicopter mode. And it had the same thing. There was a delay. If you do a misapproach, go to full throttle, it kind of takes time to spool up. and of course know all the safety procedures and that kind of stuff that goes with it, and that kind of stuff. But been a fascinating journey. I'm really happy I finally got it. Unfortunately, I haven't had a chance to fly the F-16 yet. I plan to do that as soon as I can. I did get it was an interesting process for the waiver, Lee, as you probably know. You can mail it in, but I was reading it and it says, well, actually you can PayPal it and then send an email in the application. And so what I did is I scanned the application, mailed it into the email they said, and sent them the PayPal for the fee. And like in a couple days, I had the waiver. Well, I have an official response that the waiver was approved, and so I can use that as proof. And eventually, I guess they're going to send me a new AMA card with the thing on it, Lee, I think.
All right.
So,
Turbine waiver.
turbines, yeah. So I'm legal now. I have the waiver. I just don't have the card yet, but I have the paperwork from them, the letter and the official approval letter and stuff like that.
So the next jet event, when they ask for your papers, you can show
the
them.
papers, please. So it's pretty neat. I look forward to flying in the F-16, flying around, and maybe doing another turbine project of some sort.
All right.
We need to.
Awesome.
Yeah. Finally.
Congratulations. Yeah. So how many different instructors did you have through that process?
Actually, no, I didn't have
3.
I just had 3. Oh, yeah. So I had Andy, another guy, a local guy named Alan, who's like the jet guru.
Very nice guy.
Yeah, very nice guy. He's really cool. And Russ.
Okay.
Who said, who entrusted me with his baby, without even doing the too much of an intro flight with it. And so I have forever gratitude to my instructors, all you guys, for helping me out in this. I really, really appreciate it. Couldn't have done it without you guys, and it's been a great experience.
All right, cool. So does this mean you are now qualified to sign people off for waivers?
In a way. I don't know. I mean, I don't have much experience with jets, but I could, I guess, technically be the second person since I have the waiver.
Right.
I don't have the CD status, so they need somebody with CD status and then one with just a regular waiver, jet waiver.
Right.
So I guess, I could help. I could observe and say, hey, you did this right, you did this wrong. But I was going to say something. Forgot what it was. Oh, dang it, it was on the tip of my brain. But yeah, that's the interesting thing. I thought you needed 2 people with CD status, but just 1.
Okay. Well, I consider you an above-average pilot for fixed wing and not multi-rotor, but a rotary wing. So, in gaining this waiver, what was the biggest challenge for you?
Coordination, I guess, is one, since you need 2 people with specific attributes with the AMA to do it.
Just schedule coordination?
Well, yeah, scheduling 2 people. It was a little difficult with my plane because I can only fly from a paid runway, and I couldn't fly at JSC, and so I'd had to basically go to bomber and stuff. So if you were to get a waiver, it's make sure you have a plane that's versatile enough to fly a lot of different places. I'd recommend. Right. There's restrictions. There's a weight minimum, believe it or not, and it has to meet those requirements to do it. But you can't just go get a little EDF foamy, strap a turbine onto it, and say, okay, I'm going to get my waiver. No, that won't work.
Well, you're talking about logistical issues, and I'm sure those are significant, but I just mean in terms of standing by the runway, flying the airplane, what was the hardest thing to overcome?
Well, there's a certain aspect of psychological aspect too. You're saying you're flying, in most cases, a really expensive aircraft, most expensive aircraft I've ever flown. So it's something it's not for the faint-hearted, and knowing the routine you want to do and being cognizant of the nuances of flying a turbine. The plane itself that I flew, in fact, wasn't hard to fly at all. It flew just like a really nice sport plane. Neither one of you guys would have no problem flying it and doing what you need to do. It's just really nice. Just knowing how to handle, well, obviously there's a safety aspect, but knowing how to handle something that's always flying kind of fast, doesn't really slow down all that well, that has a delay in the throttle response, and you got to remember that it has brakes when you land. And
Is that forward elevator to engage the brakes?
There's different techniques. Usually forward elevator, that's how I have it. Down elevator is the brakes. That's how he had it. That's how I have it. It's how most people do. Some people put it on separate channels. It's personal preference.
Okay.
I like it on the elevator. That's how I do all my airplanes. Even my electric ones have brakes. I just put it on the elevator. I don't know what else. So, yeah, just knowing because when we're doing the setup, I was being quizzed on different things in a sense and observed, and how I handle things, knowing how to position the jet for startup and safety. They do a lot of different things on safety, the procedures you need to do, start procedures. There's also more things, knowing how to handle hot starts, fires, that kind of stuff. But it's really just knowing the plane, knowing what you need to do in certain situations, that kind of stuff.
All right.
I'll probably repeat myself, sorry.
Well, no, but the gist I'm getting is that it's all about diligence.
Yes. Yeah. Treat it very seriously. It's a hobby, but we were talking about something that spins 100-something thousand RPMs. It's very, very hot, and it's not cheap, and be a competent flyer. Like I said, it wasn't hard, but you need to be confident that you can fly heavy plane that's fast. It doesn't have, they don't want you to do this with AS3X in safe mode. This is something you really have to know how to fly the plane.
All right, cool. Well, congratulations, buddy.
Oh, thank you.
Terry, I have a question for you.
For me?
Yes.
Go ahead.
Terry.
Bachelor number 3.
If I were a jet turbine, what kind of turbine would you want me to be?
All right, what's your real
Seriously,
question?
If you were to get your turbine waiver, what jet would you want to fly?
Gosh.
Why would you get it so you could fly a certain jet?
This is an abstract question for me because I like watching jets fly, but I haven't yet had the itch where I felt like, yeah, I need to go do that. So, yeah, I don't know. Maybe a sport jet, just something simple. Because a lot of the stuff that I like with RC flying is just the simplicity of it. And jets by default, the simplicity is like a whole different definition. So, yeah, I never say never, but I don't really see that as something that's going to pull me in anytime soon. But if it did, it would probably be some sort of sport jet that's capable of lots of different things.
There's some nice sport jets out there. So that's... Yeah, and it's funny for people new to the show. I was very much like Terry. It's like, yeah, turbines are cool. And I love watching them and stuff, but I don't think I'd ever get one. I don't know if I'd want to spend that much money. And that was until I walked into the hobby shop and had a deal I couldn't pass up on one. And plus, it's an F-16, which is very close to my heart for various reasons. I decided, what the heck? You only live twice. I'm going to take the plunge and see what it's like. And just to get the experience for the most part and expand my talent stack in my RC modeling.
Well, what about
one
you,
up
Lee?
us.
And one.
Well, I'm glad you asked. Not that I had something ready for show and tell.
Oh no!
What is this on the screen?
What a surprise!
No, I was thinking about that. If I were to get a jet, and I had like Fitz, like maybe just one turbine in my collection, it would be a T-33.
All right.
I think
Definitely a really good model,
that
actually.
is very like a sport jet. And Fitz was with me the other day at Scobie when I flew my Kyosho T-33. And I let you fly it, didn't I, Fitz?
Yeah, you let me fly it. Yes.
It is just such a gentle flyer. It's like flying a powered glider, quite frankly. I mean, you just put it in a turn, she'll stay there. But this is I don't know who makes this, a Sky Masters jet, I think. This is
Skymaster T-33 with tip tanks.
T-33, yeah. Just, I mean, that's pretty big. I don't know if mine would be
large,
that big
yeah.
if I were to get one, yeah. But I think a T-33 would be an excellent addition to my hangar. So if I ever take the step into turbine waiver status, that would be my go-to.
All right.
I'd like to get one that is, I say, relatively, affordable. I don't need anything this big, this fancy, this paint job. I would like something that's, like you said, like a sport jet, but in the T-33 airframe.
It'd probably make a really good sport jet, actually. Straight wings.
I think so.
Good
Some
moments,
nice
yeah.
stripes and stuff. Go to Florida
Yeah.
Jets. Go hang out with my son at the DeLand, Jets over DeLand one day. Show him off. I got my waiver.
Yeah.
You don't.
It's just been a really interesting journey, especially learning some of the different things about turbines, how they're set up. The thrust tube, there's a reason why the tube is not connected to the end of the turbine. It's actually a separate piece. And there's some details and rules of thumbs on how that's set up. To different manufacturers and the different types. It's just really fascinating.
All right. Well, cool.
Yeah. So
right,
that's that.
That's it. All right. Well,
That's
we
it.
have
The end.
The end.
we have Uno Mas events to talk about, and that is the swap meet that I went to. What's today? Tuesday. So 2 days ago, as we've talked about before. Up here in the Great White North, swap meets tend to be on Sunday mornings. So
Really?
there was one.
Interesting.
Yeah. I don't know why, but it works out well for me. So in Appleton, which
You heathens.
Oh, well, maybe the church approves of it. You're not technically working. You're doing the Lord's work.
Are they in churches, the swap meets?
this one was at a bar.
You know how many
so-
more people would be in church if the swap meets were in the church? We're opening up the choir room this week to Green Bay modelers.
All right, so this one was in Appleton. As you guys know, that we passed through Appleton on the way to Oshkosh when you guys are up here. So
And Fitz flew into Appleton.
Yeah, I flew
Yeah.
there at one point.
yeah. So the club there in Appleton had their swap meet. They have it every year at the same place. I went. They pack a lot of people in here. It's at a, I don't even know what you would call it, but like an event room, and they've got a bar and stuff there. But we pulled in, and the parking lot was like full. You get inside, and most of the tables are taken up. And for a lot of these events that happen in northern to northeastern Wisconsin, you tend to see the same people at each one, and that's fine because you get to know everybody. So it's as much a social event as anything else, and that was the case here for me. I didn't sell anything. I didn't take anything to sell, and I wasn't particularly jonesing for anything. So I just went with a little bit of money, thinking if I find something, a great deal, I'll take it. That being said, I did see something on Facebook a few days earlier that I did want, and I knew the guy selling it, and we knew that we would both be at the swap meet. So I'm like, yeah, just bring it to the swap meet. I'll meet you there, and we can swap it. So the only thing that I did buy was something that ultimately came off Marketplace, and I'll show you that in just a minute. But yeah, it was a good event. They have mostly airplane guys. A few car people were there too. But yeah, a lot of neat stuff. I didn't take any pictures this time. I wasn't there for too long, and most of the time that I was there, I was chatty. But you probably can't see it here. But one thing, I bought the airplane I talked about, but also somebody had a bin full of stuff, with $1 each. And do I have the other ones here? I'm so terrible. One of the things in there was a set of wheels for an ultra micro. Fly Zone used to make an SE5A ultra micro, and it has the classic narrow World War I wheels. Well, I have an SE5A from a company in England called Micro Aces, and it's really neat because they print right on the foam, and it's very accurate looking color schemes that are on Depron. You know what? Let me grab it real quick, and you won't believe me. All right, so look at this. You can see weathering and all sorts of stuff in the markings. That's all printed right on the foam. And they tell you how to do the flying wires and even stickers to go in the prop. So for ultra micro stuff, it's very accurate looking. But anyway, the original wheels that came with it are made out of foam, and you use O-rings for the tires. Not only was it a little bit heavy, but I couldn't get mine to run true. So at the swap meet, I found a set of wheels for the Fly Zone version, which was maybe a little bit smaller, but that's what's on here now. So maybe a little bit smaller than the ones that were on there, but a few grams lighter, and they fit fine. So they're not going to come apart. These are molded plastic with some sort of foam on there. So I lucked out finding that. And if you're ready now, I will show you the airplane I bought. And I look forward to quizzing you on it. So stand by.
Are you ready, Fitz?
Yeah, I reckon.
It's a Spitfire. It's a Hurricane. It's a Mosquito.
British.
It's British.
Mosquito cane.
Okay,
Her fire.
here it comes.
Wow.
Oh, that's
Yes.
yes, that's what it is.
I know what it is. Give me a second. No, I know exactly what that is.
It's a twin.
No, yeah, that's the.
It is.
What is it
It's
called?
a British
Speed
twin.
400.
Yes. No,
Speed
it's
400s?
For those of you listening, it has a bubble canopy.
yeah, God,
Guns in the nose.
give me a second. I know
Cannons,
exactly what it
yeah.
is. Why is the name eluding me?
They're not really straight. But
Well, they're flexi straws.
Oh.
just scare people in front of you.
God, I
That's
feel
a very
like
unique plane. I don't know
Yeah.
the name of it.
It's
I
not
do-
a T-tail, but
Semi-T-tail.
Yeah, I
And
thought.
then the
thought-
cells drop
I thought
under
about
the
scratch
wing.
building one at one point.
Like Fitz and I are just yelling.
I know.
Just say it.
I'm pissed
Just
off.
yelling
I
Shut
remember
Fitz
what-
up.
all right. I'm gonna give you the company first. Maybe
Yeah, there was
that'll,
the company. Yeah.
Westland. Westland.
Westland Cricket.
Wayland?
What'd you say?
Not a Wayland, is it?
No. What's
Oh.
my username today, Fitz?
Whirlwind. Damn it, right there.
There
in
it
front of
is.
Oh, you sneaky devil. I
was
would have never
close.
guessed.
I was
would have never
close.
guessed.
What's a
All right, so
Whirlwind? Yes.
This is a Westland Whirlwind, which I did not know much about. I probably could not have named it had I not done some research on it. But it's a twin that the British had actually at the start of the war. So the design and the gearing up of this started before the war did. And I don't know, it just looks kind of modern and sleek and fast. And there weren't very many built, and they didn't stay in service for a long time, but they were used during the war. And no, these are not Merlin engines in here. They were Rolls-Royce Peregrine engines, which I think were also V12s, but less than 900 horsepower each. So
Really?
I-
Oh,
yeah,
man, that's
yeah.
kind of weak.
Okay,
Yeah.
here's what I need you to do. I need you to turn it profile to us, angle the props up and down, go further back so we can, and then imagine the landing gear, everyone. Oh my gosh.
what?
How high was that thing off the ground with landing
don't
gear
know.
to clear the props?
Oh, I don't know. I'd have to look at pictures. I don't remember it looking weird in pictures that I
It's
saw.
got to look weird.
Yeah.
It's got to
All
look
right.
weird.
So, Lee, I think you asked or pointed out, is it Speed 400? Yes. It has two 6-volt Speed 400s in it, and these are the old Grotner spinners. Or maybe is that Grotner? Yeah, I think the Grotner spinners. And what are these, 5-inch props, 6-inch props?
I think that's what's
And-
on my P38.
Yeah, probably. And I'm sure it was fine. And then the Astroflight Zero Loss connectors with a Pegasus 35 amp speed control.
Wow.
And then an
Yeah,
old
really old school.
FMA servo. So this thing is in really good shape. There are some blemishes on it. You don't have to look too hard, but it was built really well and it's been taken care of. I'm told that it did fly at one point, I assume with NICADs, 'cause it would be of that lineage. And I believe that this was built, it appears to be plans built. And I believe it was the plans that were drawn by Mark Rittinger. It's a 42-inch wingspan.
Oh, okay. That was my next question.
Yeah.
But to know he
And-
did a Whirlwind. Interesting.
Yeah.
But it certainly
And-
seems like something he would do. Yeah,
Yeah,
go ahead.
right. And I think there was a kit made in England of the same span, but this just looking at the parts that I can see, it appears to be built from plans. The camouflage. The camouflage looks nice, right? That's individually cut pieces of iron-on film.
Huh.
And I guess it's matte finish. The Top Flight used to make matte finish iron-on. I don't remember. But
Maybe.
and just some neat details with like the flap hinge line and I don't know, just cool stuff. My plan currently is to swap out the Speed 400s for some little brushless motors and probably run it on a 3-cell LiPo.
Of course, the question is, can you get the balance with all that?
Right. That's the. It's going to be the challenge. Right now, you've got these Speed 400s way out front, 2 of them, and then the battery, you can't go that far forward. But I'll do some initial testing. It's built nicely, so it's not like it's heavy in the back and there's a lot to overcome. But I think it's doable. The biggest challenge is going to be that I cut this part out. It was a separate panel, but the covering was over it, so I had to find the borders of that piece and cut it out. I'm going to have to do the same thing over here. And there is 0 room around that motor. The diameter of the motor is the diameter of the firewall.
Just squeeze it in there?
Yeah.
Friction fit?
I think I have some outrunners that will work that way. And anyway, and then, of course, there's challenges with finding spinners that will work. It's not a slam dunk, but it shouldn't be too terribly difficult. But I'm excited about it. It's a neat-looking airplane that is the whole point of me quizzing you guys. It's a unique subject, so you're not likely to see another one at the field when you take it there.
I think that's the first one I've seen, and it's been built as a model. I know.
Yeah. So I got a good deal on it, and so I'm happy with it. And it'll be a fun little airplane to have.
Yeah, neat.
And that was my swap meet score.
Score.
Yeah, it is. I have another score. This had nothing to do with the swap meet, though. There was a guy here in Green Bay whose father was into building RC airplanes, and he had the father died, and so now he's trying to get his dad's stuff into the hands of people that use it. And so I got in on that, and so the other day I brought home a vacuform machine. Well, I should say it's a vacuform setup. So from what I can tell, I didn't bring the book. There was a book that was published in the early 90s about vacuforming for hobbyists. And as part of that, it talks about how to build your own machine. The machine that I got looks like it closely followed those recommendations. So at the top of it, there's like an oven heating element. I figured out today, I think it's wired for a 240 circuit. So I don't have a 240 volt outlet in my basement. So I'm not quite sure what I'm going to do there yet. But, there's a heating element up top, and then at the bottom, there's a vacuum board with, all that stuff. And interestingly, the footprint of the bottom is, 10 inches by 15 inches. But there's a central hose in the bottom, and he made these graduated platforms that can go into that vacuum hose. So if you're making a small piece, you can put the smaller platform in there, and you don't have to use a huge piece of plastic to
that's pretty clever.
form it. So there's like 3 different size pieces. So you can do the full one or a medium one or the small one. So it's some pretty clever stuff. It's been sitting in a garage probably for 15 years or more. There was plenty of dust on it. Oh, and it came with a neat vacuum as well. Not like a vacuum cleaner, but a square box, a square metal box with an in and an out for air. And it's so quiet. It pulls really strong, but it's not loud like a vacuum cleaner would be. So I'm assuming that's going to work okay for it. I need to call Sparky and get a brain dump from him on the ABCs of vacuforming. But I've been wanting to build a vacuform machine for a long time, and I was slowly collecting parts, but I never really pulled the trigger and did it. So now I have no excuse. I've got all this stuff right here, and I just need to figure out how to use it and then play with it. So I'm excited about it. Do you guys need any? Yeah, you need any vacuform parts? Want me to make a mold of your face, Lee?
I have a vacuform machine. Mike McCormick gave me his prototype. He made a much bigger one, and Austin used it to make parts. So it has the heating element. It has the actual tray, the vacuum sled tray. So they all fit together really nicely.
Why have you never told me this?
Hey, Terry, I got a vacuum form machine.
So you used it?
I have, but for Austin's parts, not for me.
Okay.
I don't have a big need for vacuum forming.
Huh. All right. How big is the footprint on yours?
20, 30 inches.
What?
Yeah.
By what?
It's square.
What? That's huge.
Yeah,
What's-
but he made it himself. Mike McCormick built this so it assembles together, so it's one piece, and then you take off the heating element. It's really cool how you do it. And I had to rewire the plug. It was quite old and frayed, so Austin would electrocute himself. But no, it's worked very well. And it's unfortunately in the garage collecting dust because I don't use it, so I'm sorry. But hey, you're not even here, so it's not like you get your hands on it. Or I can let you borrow it. Fitz has got one. His is like they big. Fitz has got a little tiny one.
Yeah,
No, we
I
all
got-
have one.
I got a vacuum former envy because mine's just a little 6 by 8 inch or something like that.
I mean, the other part of that is the type of plastics, because I remember Austin going on and on about the thicknesses and availability, and that stuff is not cheap. So when he
Right.
had to get his piece, he was very cautious about not making a mistake.
Yeah.
So
All right.
I think that's it too. I mean, yeah, you could have fun. Fitz, did you like on your vacuum form? I think you had a vacuum form. I was looking at the windscreens you were doing for the Buffalo, and I think you changed your mind and you just used the heat gun method, right?
Yeah, I wanted to try the method that they had recommended just for giggles. But if I do it again, I would have used my vacuum form machine.
Okay.
It would have been a lot easier.
Make a
Better.
plug, 3D print a plug.
Well, they give you a plug.
Oh, that's
3D
right.
print. So that was a plug. That plug I had for their technique was still a plug that I 3D printed.
Yeah, that's what I meant. You 3D print a
So-
plug. Yeah, and
Yeah.
you just vacuum form. Yeah, cool.
Yeah, I just do that, and I would make it out of ABS so it can handle the heat, and I would just maybe put a little bit of a platform underneath it and stuck it into the vacuum form machine and done that. So mine is not fancy. I don't have heating elements on mine. I have to either use a heat gun to heat it, or it's got a hinge so I could stick it over a hot plate and heat it up that way, and flip it over and use a vacuum form something.
Not use the kitchen oven.
Technically I could, but that's a lot of hot stuff to handle. So I think the last time I used the heat gun. I was able to get the plastic all soft and smushy with the heat gun and just flip it over because it's got a hinge on it. So just go ka-chink, and and hit the vacuum. So it works okay. It's one of those things. I was telling Lee, it's one of those things I don't use very often, but when I do use it, it comes in really handy.
Yeah. All right. Well, I'm excited to try mine.
The next show, Terry's going to have like 8 or 9 windshields, cockpit canopies all laying out. Look what I've made.
Well, it's one of those things that through the years, as I do different projects, I'm like, man, I wish I had a vacuum form machine. I could do this or this.
Yeah.
And now that I have one, I don't have a project specifically in mind for it. But no, actually, I do. Remember, Fitz, you gave me a Kyosho, what was that first plane, Prelude? The single engine or single motor.
Oh, yeah.
On the one I got from you, the original wingtips had been replaced. And so I need to make a mold and create some wingtips for a Kyosho.
Maybe that's what I'll do for RC Rescue. I have the twin electric one.
There you go. The duet.
The duet, yeah.
Yeah. I remember
about that.
Yeah, okay. Are you going to modernize it?
Oh, I haven't thought about that. What do you think?
Yes.
Should I modernize it or use the
more
stock motor,
power.
just more?
Unlimited vertical.
Well, no, it's a rescue. First, you build it stock,
Yeah.
and you fly it and evaluate it. Then you bring it back to the shop, and then you see all the parts flying. And then you
That's
put
not
into
no, that's not necessarily a rescue. That's just
It's RC upgrade.
yeah, that's more.
it'd be
I
neat
mean,
to see how it flies.
I rescued that originally because it came to me broken, so I rescued it and I flew it stock. But I just wanted to have more fun with it, so
Well, I was wondering
that's
how it
what
would fly
he's to do.
with the stock motors, but like a lipo battery.
Yeah,
Kinda
you can
deal.
do that too. And it wouldn't be bad because in stock form, it's geared brush motors, and they're not even cam
Yeah.
motors. They're like the upgradable exposed end bell type motors. So it wouldn't be too bad.
Okay.
And you know what you could do? So another part of this rescue, Fitz, since you have the only resin printer amongst us, is you can 3D print some really cool accessory parts.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
You guys didn't say anything about my 3D printed machine guns or machine gun tips.
Oh, yeah. I forgot about that. So what airplane was that for? The big green blob behind you?
Yeah, it's for the big P-51.
Okay.
It comes with these vacuum form. This is the Seagull Models P-51 70-something inch wingspan. And there's a bunch of guns, but there's these kind of cheesy vacuum form muzzles, what do you want to call them. And the main reason I 3D printed them because the vacuum form parts didn't fit. They don't fit inside the hole. Unless you cut them way down or something. It was really weird. I said, and it didn't really look right anyways. So I poked around and saw what they really look like. And so I went over to Fusion 360, and in a few minutes I whipped up some pretty close looking machine gun nozzles that I'm going to use, and they fit. I got them to fit right in there. Those are just test prints I showed you. They're black. I just got some silver filament I'm going to use instead, and they look a lot nicer. And it's interesting if you look at a P-51. The two outer guns sort of stick out. The innermost gun is recessed. And so I didn't show you, but I actually made a recessed version for the inner guns. So there's the two outer, technically I think the two outer ones are not quite the same distance. I think they're staggered slightly, but I was lazy. I just made the two outer ones the same, and the inner one is going to be recessed. So it should look really, really cool. And I'll probably end up doing it on the resin printer so I don't see the lines and stuff on them. So.
All right.
Cool. And I probably, it didn't come with a pilot figure too. So I was going to upscale the Buffalo pilot figure to fit into there, since they're both U.S. Air Force, whatever.
All right, cool. So when you design things like those machine guns, do you share them out on Thingiverse?
Not normally, just because of laziness. But these, I think I will, because for other people who have the same model, I actually have a Thingiverse account that I hadn't used in the longest time. I said, I think I have an account. So I went in there and was able to get in and reset my password because I had long forgotten the password. And I realized I thought I had something in there, but I didn't. It's completely blank. So I will at some point put these up there on Thingiverse. And I'll tell Tomas, I say, hey, if you get anybody that buys this plane, I've got some replacement machine guns they can print out for free.
All right, cool.
I can't do the pilot because that is a purchase thing.
Right. Yeah, sure.
That'll just be for me. You'll have to buy it from the other guy and scale it up. But the machine guns look a lot better. they look a lot better than the kit ones.
And there are pilot busts on Thingiverse.
Oh, I'm sure, yeah.
Yeah, I started drawing stuff. I use Onshape for my 3D modeling, but since I've started restoring old cars, I've designed some 3D printed replicas of parts that I can't get. And since my stuff mostly sits on the shelf, it doesn't have to be that durable, so I can print it with PLA and it's fine. But I've been sharing that stuff on Thingiverse, and it's fun. And every now and then something gets downloaded, not often, but it's neat when somebody else needs a part that you imagined and drew up.
Yeah.
Yeah, no one wants anything I imagine and design in Tinkercad. They work fine for me, but that's as far as they're going to be seeing.
Of course, you remember the story about the Hawker Tempest grill that I designed?
Yeah.
It became real popular for a while.
Yeah.
So it's a nice boost to the ego. It said, hey, it's something I made people like.
The IRS heard about that.
Shh.
Oh, sorry. All right. Well, you know what, fellas? Oh, actually, let me give you the update.
Are we getting the yellow flag? Is this like soccer, football? We made a.
It should be red flag. This game should be over.
So,
should I jump on the ground, start crying?
No,
we made
done
a
everything on the
list.
checklist.
Okay,
yeah, I'm not saying we have to stop, but we hit all the things that we planned to talk about. So
okay,
I'm going to say wrap it up. We can always have another episode.
Okay, yeah, we've been on. We're pushing an hour and 40 minutes ish or something like that. So
it's our normal time frame.
probably ready to
our abnormal time limit. Yeah.
gnaw their arm off to escape.
You didn't have to listen to the 2-hour episode of the RC Rescue.
Next on RC Rescue. Yeah, narrated by William Shatner.
Which probably took me 3 hours to get down to 45 minutes.
I'm sure. Yeah. All right.
Yeah. Oh, did I tell you about the...
But wait, there's more.
There's more. One last thing. Did I tell you about the little helicopter I got?
Oh, cool.
Oh, you were talking about getting...
Yes. So this is, I'm holding up a 450 size RC helicopter in the shape of a Huey, UH-1 Huey. This is from Flywing. Thank you. Flywing, which is distributed by Motion RC. This is a subject of a review that will be in Model Aviation.
Yeah, I know how much that thing costs, man.
Yeah,
that's a review.
It's a review, yes. One of those things that kind of popped up that it's actually really nice. I was surprised how nice it was. And there's this I have to tell you later an interesting story about flying this thing. But it's GPS and gyro stabilized. It basically flies like a drone for the most part.
Like the other one you had?
Different modes. I'm sorry?
Like that little red one you had?
Yeah, like the little red one, except this one does have a aerobatic mode that you can switch into, so it's more nimble. Okay. And so it's a little nicer.
It can tilt more than 5 degrees.
Oh, I've looped and rolled it.
Oh, nice.
Oh, then I take it all back.
So it actually is aerobatic, believe it or not, and it has a return to home feature like a drone. So you fly away, you flip a button, it'll come back, rotate itself around, orientate, and land by itself. This is pretty standard.
Good gravy.
Yeah, this is helicopter flying on easy mode. So it's got a fiberglass fuselage, which is pretty neat.
Oh,
so
that is interesting.
Yeah, so look for a video review, not review, a magazine review on it in a few months in Model Aviation. You see my thoughts on it.
Neat.
All right.
Okay, well, this wraps up another fun-filled, super exciting, fantastical episode of the RC Roundtable. Thanks everybody for joining us. Appreciate you both on the YouTubes and on the audio-only versions of this podcast. Please like and subscribe on the various forums. And of course, send all the hate mail to Terry at contact@rcroundtable.com. We'd love to hear from you. And maybe you can correct us on some things, or just tell us about your life in the modeling world. Or maybe tell us about your experiences, like doing things like getting a turbine waiver or something. Or that time you had a Westland Whirlwind in it.
And nobody remembers.
Nobody remembers, yes. What else are we missing, Lee? Was it anything else we're going to put up? I guess rcroundtable.com. Go to the website and take a look at Terry's articles. He's always has some great stuff there. We mentioned from the old tested days and other stuff. And I think that is it. I think I've bored you enough with all the post-processing here. Thanks again for watching and listening, and we'll see you next time. And hopefully we'll see you at an event near you.
Like Joe Null.
Like Joe Null.
Oh, yes. See us at Joe Null, say hello. We might even have a sticker for you or something. Or if not, we'll just stick our tongue out.
We will sign autographs. We will take photos with you. We will sign your airplane.
Lee will carry his autograph pen with him, so, in different colors too for you.
Sure, there you go. Hey, dude, I just came to find Lee so I could find Fitz. All right, we'll hopefully see you guys real soon. Yeah.
See you later.
Bye.
Please visit our website at rcroundtable.com. That's where you will find all of our podcast episodes. You can also find a little bit of background information about the show host and leave comments and suggestions about the show. There are links to a few of our favorite vendors and also links to our various social media accounts. Thank you for watching and listening.